Hey, it's Joe at TechNet Edge, and I'm here with
Sergei Program Manager for Server Migration.
And Jared Watts, the Dev Technical Lead for Server Migration.
All right, you said the magic words, server and migration. So everybody should be aware by now that Server 2008 R2 is a 64-bit only release. So migration really comes into play here because we know that most people are going to probably buy a lot of new servers or buy new hardware, or at least have to move to a 64-bit platform. So you've got to move stuff that's running on your 32-bit stuff over to your 64-bit system. What is new in R2 and with what you guys have been working on that will really kind of help make that easier?
First of all, server migration becomes very important in R2 because just like you said, R2 is 64-bit only and you cannot do in-place upgrade. Server migration, in fact, the only way to transition from 32-bit operating system to 64-bit operating system. So what we've done, we have delivered three main components of the migration solution in R2. It is a TechNet portal, which is a central place to find all the migration-related information, a series of migration guides for most commonly used server rules, and also data and share migration and selected OS settings, and a set of migration commandlets that automates migration.
So what are some of the roles that you can migrate now?
Mm-hmm. So currently we're supporting Active Directory domain services, DNS, DHCP, file, and print, and also branch cache, which is a new R2 feature.
Okay, so let's talk about, first of all, the portal and what you've got on the portal and the kind of information you can find there. And then we'll get into the tools a little bit and some of the stuff that you work on.
Okay, yeah, so one of the challenges that we have identified that our customers have been dealing with is that before R2 release, there was already quite substantial amount of migration tools and documentations, but they were not particularly easy to find. They were pretty much scattered across the TechNet. And the first problem that we have decided to address is discoverability. Right now, there is a single place for all migration information, R2 migration information, even for the previous releases. So if you need to find any information related to server migration, you go to the portal, you'll find it there.
So it doesn't matter if it's R2 or if it's Server 2008 now, all the migration stuff is living in one place.
So our primary focus obviously was R2, but we are trying to provide links to the existing 2008 information as well.
Okay, really cool. There's also a new set of tools, correct?
Correct, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about some of those tools. Now, I've lived through DHCP migration, just as an example, and the tool exists there to move a database from one place to another. To be 100% open and honest, wasn't always successful. So go through some of the stuff that you guys worked on, and I know, Jared, you worked on the tools a lot, what you've done to kind of improve that experience.
And sure, yeah, I can talk about the tools a little bit. So what we have, our main offering is a set of PowerShell commandlets. So our big bet for management experience is going to be PowerShell. So we have a set of commandlets that we offer there. It gives you the opportunity to automate your entire migration experience for certain server roles and OS settings, and also files and shares and data as well. So for DHCP specifically, that fits into the consistent PowerShell experience we have. So you run a single commandlet called export. The export commandlet, you specify that you want to migrate the DHCP role with it. You can say the local users and groups along with it as well, the configuration for your network cards as well, and do that all in one go with just one command line. That puts that out to a single migration store, and then on the target server you'll run a very similar commandlet called the import commandlet, which will just grab all that information from the migration store and then apply it to your server.
So what were some of the challenges you ran into as you started building this new tool?
Mm-hmm. So one of the big challenges that we ran into was the fact that we were building our migration solution on top of a common migration engine that it had really only been exposed or used in client scenarios so far. So we're using it for new scenarios, server role scenarios, server-based scenarios that expose some things in the engine that we needed to add in there, some new functionality we needed to add in there. So a specific example you can give there is that when we're doing data migration, one of the things that you're not going to run into very often on a client scenario is that the ACLs for files change very often. So a new set of users is allowed to touch these files or not allowed to touch